Welcome back, everybody, to Game Flicks and Chill. I am Nick. This is Dante. Uh, this is our podcast. We talk about games, movies, TV shows, music, anything we want to talk about. We can talk about it here on Game Flicks and Chill. And today we have kind of a weird one, but it's an idea that we had for a few weeks now. We're going to be talking about some anime. Now, Dante over here is not. Well, I'm sorry. Dante over here is a lot bigger of an anime person than I am. And what I mean by that is he's watched at least two animes. I I don't watch anime, and I've watched two, and I don't think you can call one of them an anime. I think it's more fair to call it because little background. When I was a kid, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh and a little bit of Pokemon. Like I will loop those together because that was like the era, right? That was like the first real mainstream media anime that really came out, other than maybe like what Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And I never watched Dragon Ball, so I watched some Yu-Gi-Oh and some Pokemon, and both of those. Well, Pokemon's probably a lot better of an American dubbed anime than Yu-Gi-Oh was, because that just got torn to shit by four kids. And the other one I watched was Avatar: The Last Airbender, which I would honestly probably put on one of my favorite TV shows. However, it's written in America and animated in Korea. So is it really an anime? Technically, anime is Japanese. I don't know.
Usually the anime community lets Avatar kind of they give it a
I
pass.
think because the story is so good. Like,
It is.
and
It
it
generates.
was like what, 3 seasons. They knew the story they wanted to tell. They knew the time frame they wanted to tell it in. They had everything planned out, and it was done. I think that's why I love it, because it was written so perfectly and it was planned so well. Every character kind of mattered. Um, yeah, I mean it's like up there with not just like animated stuff for me. It's up there with like Breaking Bad. The first I'll say 3.5 seasons of The Walking Dead it's up there. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, I loved Avatar. But so the goal here today is Dante's gonna talk about some animes. He's gonna give me the name, and then I have to say what I think the anime is about. We'll see how that goes, and then Dante's gonna kind of nerd out on some anime stuff, I'd imagine. Once he's gonna tell me what they're really about. Now, this is his list. I have no clue what's on this list. Um, I don't know what to expect. I don't watch a whole lot of anime, and I, quite frankly, I don't plan to. But we'll see. Um, what would you describe your list as? You were going into it a little bit, but before we started recording.
My my list is mostly what they would consider it's called shonen, which is mostly action adventure. Main character is apparently just somehow a god who doesn't know he's so godlike with his powers until he hits a point in his life where he's like, "Oh man, damn, I'm pretty strong, aren't I? Well, I'm just going to continue on like I'm not."
Okay. Okay.
That's kind of mostly it. Now, I do have like I have a romance anime added in,
Okay.
but that's there's one of those. The other 2,000 in my watch list are not.
Jesus Christ. I don't know if we're gonna have time for all 2,000.
No, we're not going through all 2,000. I'm just picking like a good couple to go into.
Okay. Well, I guess there's no better way to start this than to just drop into it, I guess. I don't know. And nothing left to it but to do it. All right. What's your first one? Give me the name of it.
All right. So I want to try and avoid some stuff that's been in the public eye, but at the same time, those are the most prevalent ones. So I'm going to go with Attack on Titan.
The only thing I have seen from this is big naked guy running through the woods. And I'm gonna guess uh more okay, so like that's the only thing I've seen, but like a large civilization of giants that are called titans is like maybe like enslaving the little people or like I don't know, eating them. I have no clue.
You were on the right track there for a
Okay.
second,
Okay.
but no, Attack on Titan, it's not a world of giant people enslaving little people.
All right.
It's actually the opposite.
What?
So
Why don't they just step on
basically,
them?
yeah, well, yeah. So basically, in Attack on Titan, there's normal Titans. They're stupid. They're all naked, but they don't have any genitalia. Like that doesn't exist.
Okay.
Um, but they're mindless. They used to be human, like regular 6 foot tall human. And then something like I'm also trying to word this just in case you decide to
No
go and watch
spoilers, right?
them.
Yeah.
Um, Something occurs that causes them certain select group of individuals um, to change and become large. But a certain group within that certain group of individuals can get large but retain their mind, and each one of them will have a special power related to them.
Okay.
But the setting is you start off in, well, we'll just go the island of Paradise, which is just Paradise Island.
Okay.
That's what it's just called. The main character is Aaron Yeager. You start off, you get your typical, you meet your characters, blah blah blah. A little bit of trauma ensues. He says his life vow is now to make sure he just eradicates the entire populace that can turn into titans because they cause a traumatic event to him. And yeah, by the way, the titans, you were right on one thing. The titans do eat people,
Oh, okay.
but how do I give this away? Titans with powers can only become titans with powers if they are a titan and eat another titan that has powers.
Okay, so how does the first Titan get powers?
That would be considered,
A
this is the
spoiler?
weird thing. It's kind of a weird thing. You hear about it, but there's something called the Founder, and it was the first ever Titan. She's basically like the god in the universe.
All right.
And uh, she basically can kind of pick and choose who gets it. But the thing is, if somebody with powers, like say a Titan with powers gets killed, because they can die, but they regenerate, they do all that. But if they get hit in the neck where their human body is kept, because they're not just the Titan, their small human body transforms into the big bitch.
Okay.
So if their body gets destroyed in the big one, then it's dead.
All right.
If their body dies and their body doesn't get eaten, the power goes away until somebody else is born, and that power will randomly go to them. It is a random drawing of that group of individuals if the person who had it before died without getting eaten by somebody else.
Okay. So it's almost like there's uh kind of like an aspect of I don't know, maybe reincarnation isn't the word, but like there's only like so many powerful entities, and then whenever a Titan dies or doesn't get eaten, that a new Titan will become that entity kind of deal, something
It's
like that.
a newborn child,
Okay.
fresh out the womb, will get the power, but they won't know they have it. They might never know they have it. You only access it by basically a traumatic event, or like if you specifically injure yourself, it's brought on. It's like your fight or flight response. It's
Okay.
brought on that chemical.
All right.
Um, there's like no way for me to not give this one away. Basically, you follow Aaron throughout his life as he ages and whatnot, and you see him slowly turn from this good kid. He's trying to set out a goal to get rid of them all, till where towards the end you're not really sure if he's the hero or the villain.
Okay, I love those type of stories in all media. So I don't know, maybe I would enjoy it. I don't know.
I
If I
can
st-
say,
The thing
if you were to
is,
watch it, go
yeah,
first season and immediately skip the second and go to 3 and 4.
really don't watch the second season at all.
I can give you a whole rundown of the second season in 5 minutes.
All filler.
Mostly
Okay.
it's the boring side. It's important filler, but not important to like the final plot.
Like I could read like a brief synopsis on it and then still like understand it. All right. As
Yeah,
long as I understand like who characters are and shit. All right. I'll put it on a list. Maybe I'll start it. I don't know. Wait, hold on, wait. Hasn't that show supposed to be like over like several times? Like the final season's coming out and then like a year or two later they drop another final season.
yeah, they did the final season all in parts. So it was
Oh.
final season part one, and then the next half of the year, final season part two, and then the first half of the next year, final season part three, and then the last one just dropped like a month ago.
Yeah,
It's officially done now,
all right.
but
So, roughly how many seasons, how many episodes per season? What am I getting into here, I guess? Oh.
I can check. First season is 27 episodes, but they're only about 20 minutes apiece. So
All right.
mind you on that. The second season doesn't exist. Season three, 22 episodes. And then the final season, quote unquote, is 30
Oh,
episodes.
okay. So it's like only you said there's four parts to season 3. So let's say I don't know. Let's call it like 5 seasons. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
I'd say that's probably a pretty good one. Yeah, about 5 seasons.
All right. I put on my list Big Naked Man Show.
You could probably type that in and it'll come up. I'm not going to lie.
All right. What's your next title?
One of my personal favorites, it's Death Note.
Okay, so I watched the live action Netflix thing about this, so I already know
Oh,
this.
that's a mistake.
Um this was many many years ago and there were definitely substances that are becoming legal across the United States involved, so I don't remember a whole lot. But um do you remember William Dafoe actually voiced the fucking boogeyman guy?
That's Ryuk.
Ryuk, okay. So God, I don't remember anything about this.
Well,
But
you're skipping it.
I know that this dude kind of befriends boogeyman guy, Ryuk, and there was some weird stuff going on. I think he was like a high school kid if I had to say so, and I want to say no, I'm just pissing into the wind here, but like he was getting like revenge on people that wronged him. But like I said, this was when I watched this, it had to be 2016. So what, 7 years ago? I think that's when that came out. But I watched it with someone who I would have never thought would be watching that. All right, what is it?
All right, so Death Note essentially, this one, it doesn't really give much away. You started off with the main character. His name is Light Young.
Okay.
He is a high school student. He is basically like, if we're talking genius level, he's the guy. Like, if you need, like, they pulled, Oppenheimer to do some stuff, like, he would have been that guy that got.
Okay.
That's how smart this high school student was. He had a nice family, sister, mom. His dad was the entire police chief for the sub area they lived at in Japan. And one day, he started thinking, there's so many bad people in the world. If I had the power to do something about it, I could make a change. I could become the god of a new world. Wait for it. Well, it just so happens that Ryuk, he is a Shinigami, a god of death in that mythology.
Okay.
And basically, what happens is they have a book, the Shinigami. It's called the Death Note. Any name they write down in their notebook will die without any warning. It's if they just put the name in, the person dies. They could put the name in and say dies choking on an eraser cap, and that's how that person will die. Well, if a Shinigami drops his book in that mythology, if a god drops something, it transfers its physical form into the human world.
Okay.
And it just so happened that this genius who had been talking about how criminals are ruining the world happened to stumble upon this book. But he was given a choice when he did it. He could either set it down, leave it, and it would automatically be erased from his memory that he even saw the book. Or he could accept that after he dies, he gets sent to nowhere. Doesn't go to heaven or hell because he accepted the book and opened it.
Oh, okay.
If he opens the book, he will have the power of a Shinigami to where he can write names in the book and they will die.
So he's a serial killer.
Hey,
He's a
hey,
serial killer of bad people.
okay, now you were
The
treading on
dude is
hot water
Dexter
there,
Morgan from Dexter.
except on a whole advanced level, yes.
Yeah, but like more of what's the like a
But you
mythical.
also have to think, he never, okay, so let's say by the end of the series, let's just say he's probably got a kill count of close to 2 million.
Jesus Christ.
But he slowly over time starts getting overwhelmed, I won't say, by the embrace of the book. Like, oh, I have powers now. I'm already smarter than everyone else. Now I'm just better than everyone else.
So
He's
it's a TV show about a narcissist
an
that
egotistical narcissist genius.
that gets the ability to decide whether or not people
He
live or
is not,
die.
yes. And
Jeez.
now, of course, there's some stuff that happens in between. He ends up running into the most world renowned famous like detective, I guess you could say, like a super detective. Think of him like Sherlock Holmes, but like is just constantly on straight meth and coke.
Okay.
He's as smart as Light. They have the same IQ, same brain power, all that. They're almost exact where one is truly on the good side and use brain power to help the world in a legal way. Whereas Light decided, well, the justice system, it's failing. It doesn't work. I'm going to take it in my own hands.
Hmm. It sounds kind of
So
interesting.
it is the it ended. I'd have to say just as well as it could. He he slowly became more and more like a Shinigami because the thing is, there's a rare chance that when a human dies, they become a god of death.
Oh,
And at one point in the show, Ryuk was looking at him like, wow, you're gonna be something. And one thing I forgot to mention when Light first picked up the and opened it to read, or not read, write down names and all that, the one message Ryuk gave him, you open the book, remember, I'm gonna be the one who writes your name.
yeah.
So the entire series, Ryuk, he can't interfere with human affairs. He just can't. He's there. He can control whether someone dies or not, but he cannot make a direct like he if Light was about to get like shot at or something. Ryu can't go and write in, no, this guy dies from heart attack, so Light doesn't get shot. Because then the Shinigami disappears. They just
So
die.
let me ask you this: you said there's multiple Shinigami, right?
Yes.
So are there other Shinigami that become in opposition to Light without
Ye-
spoiling it?
With opposition, no.
Oh,
Join him, yes.
okay. Cool, cool, cool.
After a while, the crime rate, it's not really given much away, but at a certain point in the show, he had dropped the crime rate in Japan by almost 85%.
Oh, hell yeah. Cool.
Like people were happy walking around, chilling, but of course the government's mad because like he took the justice system in hands. Like no one person should have that power. But it became to the point where people were praising him like a god. And then that's when the god complex came in. And
Yeah, it's whenever you have someone already has that narcissistic personality type deal or egotistical tendencies, and you put them in a position of power, even in obviously like the real world scenarios, it's like that feeds that personality, that feeds that tendency even more. So giving them like even like a spiritual power such as that's problematic.
it
And,
is.
and I think one of the cool things that would I'm probably already tracing on like story beats in the show, but one of the cool things about I'm assuming the Shinigami, is
Yeah.
that right? Okay. The one of the cool things about them is that they do it without, do this job without prejudice, without judgment, without, you know.
Well, their lifespan depends on it. Because
Yeah.
when if somebody does like a crime or like that, now they can choose at random. They do not care. They're like you said, there's no pressure. It does there's literally no factor other than I'm gonna pick you today. Let's see, because they have a special power that you don't find out about.
Okay,
They
okay.
can see the lifespan of every single human they look at,
But they just get to choose how they die
but they can
or when
choose
they
if they
die.
die. And when they choose that, they get half of that person's remaining lifespan added to
Gotcha.
theirs.
Oh, so it's almost like, hey, it's
Oh, you're gonna live to 114 and you're
Yeah,
only 10? Well,
terminated.
looks like you'll be making it to 52.
Yep. Ah,
That's kinda how they roll.
cool, cool.
It's it's interesting,
I
good
don't,
plot.
I don't recall the fucking live action movie ever being anything like that.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
because it wasn't.
it sucked. It is, like, the number 1 worst live action, like, rated version
Like
of an anime, like
adaptation.
yeah, like, it's up there. I think it's either because they did so bad with it, but, like, the plot-wise, it followed the plot. The setting was good, the scenery was good, but it's just the actors sucked.
Oh, yeah. I don't recall. And I believe it ended in a way that it seemed like they were actually going to make more of them, but
Yeah,
clearly that
yeah,
never happened. Probably
yeah, it
because
got
it was so
cut
bad.
down. Yeah, the entire community was like, "Yeah, we don't want another one of these unless it's from a different company. Yeah, you can move on."
That sounds like a cool one too. I don't I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask about that. I don't know. I think I'm all good on that one.
Alrighty. I'm gonna go for one that was a very interesting thing, but it's kind of my style of things. This one's kind of like think of it the way the plot of Rogue One went.
Okay. I just
Uh,
recently rewatched that too.
all right, so it's called Akame ga Kill.
Akame ga Kill.
Yes.
That is entirely in Japanese. Uh so ancient warrior demigod gets transported to the real world and befriends the human race and helps them fight in battles and wars across time. I don't know. I'm just making bullshit up at this point.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's actually pretty close to it.
Oh, you cut out there. What'd you say?
That description you just gave was almost close to another anime that I like a mention,
Okay, that's
but
cool.
like that was almost pretty accurate. I'm not gonna. It is so essentially, you start off the anime with this kid. I don't remember his name. I try to. It's a traumatic response. This one is. Um, and he is a really nice guy. You know, like there is no bad aura to him whatsoever. Well, he's looking for his friends. Now, in this society, the high class, the rich, really just hate the poor. Like they treat livestock better than they treat poor people.
Oh, kind of like real life.
And yeah. And this guy, he's not the most financially stable person, but he's good. He's a good fighter, but not like a hold on like, oh, he's a battle soldier. He's more of like, I had to learn to fight to protect myself and my friends.
Okay.
Well, he ends up discovering that his friends were captured. They were skinned alive and left to hang.
Oh,
Yeah, so see now here's where it starts. He meets up with a mercenary group with their leader Akame and finds out that the girl that had took him in was the one who skinned his friends, and she was going to do the same to him when he went to sleep that night.
Time out.
Time,
Are you describing me the plot to the movie Get Out?
not yet.
Dude, it was like the girl that this guy's been dating, he fell in love with her and she takes him home to her parents and then he finds out they're killing everybody and they want to kill him. Okay, continue.
I can see where you get that. Well, you start meeting the mercenary group. They're known like, oh, they're bad people, blah, blah, blah. They're bad people because they take out the high class bad people.
Okay.
They're mercenaries, but they don't harm people who don't deserve it. And you meet all of them, all the introductions, everyone's friendly, you get attached to all the characters. The next episode, every single episode, a character that you just fell in love with dies. They go through wiping the board of all the characters from the show until you get to the final like three, and then the main character you started out with, he dies, and you find out he was never the main character. It was always Akame, the leader of the mercenaries.
That's a cool little kind of twist.
That's why it's kind of like Rogue One. You get the characters, you're introduced, you follow,
Yeah, and then they kill off every single one of them.
they get rid of them. Show ended. Boom. One season. I watched it all in the span of 3 hours.
It's like I like when um you're starting to see it a little bit more in more traditional American um entertainment where okay, this thing that we really want to do, it's like too long to make a movie about, right? And it's not quite long enough to make two movies or a trilogy about, but we can do it in like a mini series and have it just be its own thing, have it start, end, and something cool like that. I really like seeing that type of stuff. Then
Well,
I hope more
there's
people
not
start
much
doing it.
else for that one. There's really
But
not.
it sounds kind of cool. I mean,
One of the most
you're right. It
famous,
parallels Rogue One like to a
yeah,
T. Let me move my camera over a little bit.
there's a character, the quote unquote like evil woman in the show, is one of the most simped for anime women in like history.
What else is new?
Yeah, but she's pretty like she hasn't moved her spot on the list in years.
Oh, okay. How old is this?
It's a few years old. It's not like a 90s era anime,
Okay.
but I'd say probably like mid 2000s, give or take. And yeah, I think there's like a total 12 episodes in it. Um, but it was a good one because like they ended it. A lot of the times with animes, they leave kind of on a cliffhanger, like really hard cliffhanger. And then whether something happens with the rights, the voice actors, animator, whatever it may be, sometimes it can be a while before you get an ending or a second season. Well, when there's certain animes where they're boom, boom, done.
I mean, I think that stands true with like a lot of media, you know.
Yeah.
Some of like I said at the beginning of this podcast, some of the best media, TV shows, movies are the ones that know exactly where they're going, how they want to get there, and how long it's going to take and they don't tiptoe around, doing, you know, bullshit side quests. And they just know what they want to do, how they want to do it, and they get it done. And they do it in a way that still allows you to grow some attachment to the characters and have good character development, character arcs, and shows in and TV shows and movies that still allow you to grow with those characters. Some of the best ones, man. The
All
the
right.
the ones that bug me are like I'll I mentioned it before, but like The Walking Dead, there were so much like messing around, and I'd love to do an entire podcast talking about that show because that show was a phenomenon, and then it fell off hard, and then it started having another little incline, and then it just right back down the hill. We can do that another time though. That ain't today, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, so far, the one that you're gonna probably get me to watch would be Attack on Titan, but I know that's like a gateway drug into anime.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what's next
So
on your list?
we're gonna go with one of my current favorites because I sometimes when it comes to an anime, when they're releasing it, I'll wait until every episode comes out, then I'll watch it as a whole. But this one, I'm like, no, I got to see what happens each week, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jujutsu Kaisen.
Main character discovers old man who is a master of a specific, almost extinct form of martial arts and begins learning from him to in order to teach more people about this ancient form of martial arts, and in along the way discovers or discovers, I guess, like the most the equal but opposite most ancient form of this style of martial arts. How close am I?
Well, there
I
is
went
fighting in
I
it.
went I went straight for the jujitsu. I was like,
Hey,
okay,
you're
I'm not even close, am I?
you're not close, but you're not super far because there is a lot of martial arts and that kind of fighting in the show, but that's not the predominant side of.
Okay.
Basically, Jujutsu Kaisen starts out.
Oh, hold on. Time out. You just cut out for like a solid 30 seconds there. What'd you say?
It was discussing about the main character.
Okay. Start
All
over.
right, all right. So Jujutsu Kaisen starts out. You meet the main character. His name is Itadori Yuji, or call him Yuji. You call him Itadori. Who gives a fuck? The way they have their names, it's like you're supposed when you greet them, but
Okay.
like, who cares? You know, their name's Yuji, but you want me to call him his quote unquote parental name, Itadori. Who cares? Um, he's just a normal. He's a high school student.
As most animes start out.
Yep. But discovers through a series of unfortunate events that curses, like it's curses. I mean, it's you remember stuff like that. They took Cortez's gold, and the entire
Oh,
crew,
okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
curses like that kind of jazz. They exist in the world, and they manifest by somebody having such an intense emotion when they do it. So, like, say like the whole how do I word this without being really weird? Say a police officer shoots somebody. They were doing something wrong. We'll say that. But shoots someone, but the person's family goes, like, we could have talked to him. I hope you, or, I hope this happens to you, blah, blah, blah. If their emotions is strong enough, that will create a curse on that person.
Gotcha.
Well, Jujutsu Kaisen, it is back to the main character. His school gets attacked by a curse. Like the whole school as a whole. There's different levels to curses. There's some that are like they're so weak that like they're not even considered a threat. And then there's the ones that are like the top of the food chain. They're like, if you see them, it doesn't matter because you're gonna die. Like there
Okay.
is no calling for help. If you, that's it for you. I hope you had a good one.
All right.
Um, Itadori, he's very athletic, very he's smart, yes, but like think of him, he'd have more athleticism to himself than like the most peak Olympic person. So he's not necessarily like super strength or anything like that, but he is like prime physical attributes that like a human could have. And he's fighting, he goes to protect his friends, and you meet two of the other main characters that are like, here, we're here to curse. Uh, if you just want to step out of the way, we'll get rid of it. We'll be on our way. Well, the one guy, he gets his shit rocked. So Itadori goes, hey, what's this? And it's a cursed object. Certain curses, if they're powerful enough, can attach some form of their life force to an object and they'll stay alive forever. They're essentially immortal because as long as that object doesn't get destroyed, that part of them can't get destroyed. And a curse can regenerate from, like, think of it like Deadpool. You need a drop of blood and he can come the whole way back. So
Okay.
that's what curses can do. Just the smallest little snippet is enough for them to completely come back. So Itadori decides to eat the cursed object because there's a chance if you eat it, you gain the powers of whatever curse was in that object.
All right.
So what ends up happening is he doesn't. None of us realize it yet. This this lovely boy, he ate a cursed finger from a curse that is known as the god of curses. He is the embodiment of curse itself. He eats the finger, and the curse, who's literally the strongest curse to ever, nobody was never beaten. He just was forced into submission, but he spread his body throughout the world, throughout 20 fingers, because he has 4 hands, and so that he could live forever. Because all he needs is one of those to survive.
Okay.
And he basically, the curse's spirit gets sucked into Yuji's. So now Yuji has his own human, but the most evil being in the universe also inside him as well.
Oh,
But he gains some extra attributes. He doesn't get any power, but he can switch. Think of it like a personality switch. His cursed, the curse inside him doesn't want him to die because then that piece of the curse will die.
okay. So it's like Voldemort with the Horcruxes.
Yes. Yeah.
Meets. Have you ever played or seen gameplay of Persona?
Yes.
The main character can like they go into this thing called the metaverse and like he has multiple different personas that he can pull from, I guess is the best way to describe it. And what you were saying about the main character having like multiple personalities, it just kind of reminded me of that short little sidebar. I won't get into that game. I haven't played it. I've watched streams. It's highly entertaining. Not the type of game I would want to play, but continue. You were taught we were on Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yep. So basically, this guy, the curse that he inherits is the strongest curse that has ever existed. His name is Sukuna. Um, but he doesn't have typically like there's literally like a 1 in a million chance you won't just immediately die. Um, but Yuji was one of the first there. He was like, I ate me. He doesn't do anything. You'd think Sukuna, the most evil. He really doesn't do anything to anyone. Because think of it like a demon pact. He would have to make a deal with Itadori to be able to do anything. Because right now he's still trapped because he doesn't have a physical form. So he has a spiritual form which he can use to focus his powers through the main character, but the main character has to allow that to happen.
Kind of like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the only thing is that the minute Sukuna can get the chance to get rid of this guy and get back to his own body, like he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a care for any like the curses see humanity as insects and that they are the true humans, the true population. Curses are better than humans.
Okay.
Well,
Sounds
Sukuna,
interesting.
he just doesn't care. He doesn't care about other curses. He doesn't care about humans. He just doesn't care. He wants to have fun, be evil, just kind of do whatever he wants to do. If he wanted to, he could 100% take full control, more like a possession. He could have it at any point in time. But he did end up making a deal with the main character. Main character said, "Don't hurt any of my friends, and you can have a certain span of time where you're in control." And in the most recent episode, the main character would say he was fighting somebody. Now he's main character. He has some power, like he can energy, which is different from curse. So you can tap into the curse like,
Okay.
but like don't get curse. You can use that power against them. Well, he's fighting someone and gets absolutely rocked. Well, I have to say, humans are afraid of Sukuna. Like just him being there makes like everyone, even no matter how strong of a curse you are, how strong of a human, like knees weak, like they're on their knees because like if they're bowing in respect because he'll kill you if you don't.
So this guy,
Well,
he's
he
evil.
he comes out and he goes, "Well, it shouldn't have given me control," and wipes out an entire city.
Oh,
And not just like all the people in the city. When I'm talking, think of a meteor hitting New York.
Jesus.
New York no longer exists. Buildings, trees, anything you could think of in I think it was like a 200-mile radius gone.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, and he's all laughing and smiles. People were calling him a psycho, but like he's literally like
Just
the
doesn't care.
Satan. He's the Satan of the curse world. He doesn't care. There's no prejudice in him either. He doesn't care animal, kid, woman, man. He does not give a shit. But he does have something. if you're a strong enough curse, you have this thing called, or a strong enough human, because jujutsu sorcerers are a thing. You'd have to watch it to kind of really get an understanding on
Right.
it. But they have this thing called domain expansion. It's a special ability that only that curse has that enhances their power by like a million times. But it also drains their stamina. Well, not for Sukuna. He can use it at will.
Okay.
Like he is no limiter. But the nice thing is he can extend his guaranteed hit radius by the amount of people that are in the radius. But he can also increase the damage and range by offering people a deal. If you're within his range and you want out, he will let you out, but it increases the range by every single person that wants out. But you only have about a millisecond to choose if you.
Yeah.
There is no thought. It's either, out or in. Like you literally, if you don't get the whole, you're done.
Yeah.
You're just dead. So he did that, and yeah, and Japan's just gone now.
So this is
So
still an ongoing anime then, I'm guessing.
yeah, the strongest human got locked away because the curses fear him because he's a human that's on the same power level as Sukuna. If not, Sukuna's probably a little bit more. Sukuna's not at his full fighting. If he's in his physical form, he's solo. There's not a single thing in the universe that can stop him. But since he's not, the one other guy, his name is Gojo. He is psycho, but on a I know I'm better than everyone else, so I'm going to protect everyone else.
Right.
But he
Okay.
does it in the most unorthodox way. He has an ability touched.
Would you say? I'm sorry, you cut out. I don't know. Discord's being weird today.
He has an ability to where he can't be touched unless he allows it.
Okay.
You could you can throw stuff at him. It's called infinite. Basically, the closer you get to him, the slower you get to the point where you're going so slow that like years could pass and you're still not touching him.
It's like, yeah, you'll never be able to touch them because the closer you get, the slower you go, and the closer.
Yeah.
It's like an infinite, because the distance is nominal whenever your speed exponentially. Okay, I got it.
Yeah. That's basically what his power is.
That's
That's why
why.
he's
That's
known.
why he's untouchable.
Yeah, he can't. Now, if he you can get him because he does have a problem with endurance. He's not immortal. He is still human. He can heal himself, do all that, but he's still human. So at a certain point, he will hit his limit. Now, it'll be a while, and that's how he ended up getting captured. He killed, I want to say, some 2,000 curses in the span of like 20 seconds. And then that little short 5-second break after, to where he could needed to just take a breath, that's when he got jumped and they captured him.
Gotcha.
They had 5 seconds to do it. And they did it by a miracle. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But yeah, no, Jujutsu Kaisen, it's a beautiful studio. It's the same animators that did the last couple seasons of Attack on Titan.
Okay, so that's why I see a lot of people saying like Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan are like the two best animes out.
Yeah, Mappa is the well, you know what? I haven't even brought this up. Mappa is the peak animating studio right now. Like they're just untouchable, but also their CEO is kind of a dick and he doesn't let the animators go home. So
It's like
it's
Activision.
yeah,
It's
pretty much. Basically they were supposed to have like a year break in between a bunch of projects they have going. Well, because of Mappa's just picking up everything. You
yeah.
know, if a manga finishes and they're like, okay, we're gonna make it into anime. Odds are, if it's an action one, they're going to Mappa, and Mappa's gonna accept it. The animators, the same animators, stopped for the past 4.5 years.
Wow.
Like they get to sleep, I guess, like pods at the studio that they sleep in.
Wow.
Now I'm sure they get paid like okay,
Probably
but
not.
probably not.
Probably not, dude.
But yeah, whatever they're doing over there, Mappa also. I don't Demon Slayer. It's Demon Slayer. I didn't want to bring up too much because it's kind of self-explanatory. What happens in Demon Slayer? People are slaying
Yeah.
demons. There you go.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been
Um,
a good one to, for the meme of me trying to guess or explain what's happening in it just by the title.
well, I have two more. One more action one, and then that romance.
Well, okay, so I have time for one because I have to go get ready. So you pick one.
All right. Well, then we're gonna do the one. It's called More Than a Married Couple, but Not Lovers.
This is like some polyamorous fucking. I don't know. Two people. They were roommates. They lived together. They do all the things a husband and a husband, or a wife and a wife, or a husband and a wife would do, but they're not partners in more than a spousal way, and they date other people. I don't know. I'm going along those lines. But then they
Okay.
slowly start to like have true romantic feelings for one another, and they realize maybe this lifestyle isn't working for them because now they are feeling more romantic. I don't know. How close am I?
You're not. You're not far off. You're
You cutting out again, dude. I'm gonna have
damn.
I'm gonna have a lot of editing.
You're closer on this one than you were the last one.
Okay.
So you know how we had senior project?
Yes.
Okay, so to graduate from high school in this anime, you have
No.
to prepare for married life. So you get put with a random person, usually a female and a male, and you have to cooperate and live like you are a married couple, but cannot be, you know,
Romantically
involved.
involved. Okay.
Like you can be, but like it's all just for a project. You get more points the more cooperative and loving you are to each other.
You're
um,
oh god.
but you follow the main characters, and the is like the most popular girl.
Okay.
And then the one guy is the I don't necessarily want to say shy because he is that maybe the most introverted kid in the school.
So they paired the popular girl up with uh the shy guy.
Yeah,
All right.
and basically, like the entire time, they butt heads for a while, and then they go, "Okay, well, we're not going to graduate unless we start acting like we take this serious." So they both agree, they start, cooking meals together, going out and doing things, groceries, taking care of the quote unquote entire apartment complex set aside for this project. And during this time, she's helping him get with the girl he has a crush on, and he is helping her get with the guy she has a crush on. But then as time progresses, she starts having feelings for him and he doesn't fucking realize it. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, go on a date with all that kind of jazz. And she does all that, or she gets stood up by the guy. Um, what really made the scene change was she was really upset. She yelled at her quote unquote fake husband, saying, all this nonsense. Went on a date, got stood up, was really upset because she didn't know, where her true feelings were at anymore. So she called her fake husband, like crying, screaming. And they cared for each other because he rushed out of the fucking door to go and find her. Um, Found her, he carried her home, all that work. And they ended up being in a legitimate relationship. Like it's not like official in the but we know it will be kind of deal. This is actually Dylan and I have been having an argument. I was like just up in my seat after every episode trying to figure out what happened next. Like it got me going. I was like, holy, this is pretty good. But
Have you ever
it's
watched Big Mouth?
I
And
have.
that's like the Rock of Gibraltar novel in Big Mouth. I mean, not at all similar, but like,
I mean,
yeah,
it's close.
everyone all of a sudden is just invested into this fucking novel. It's
Yeah.
just funny. Yeah. Uh,
And-
okay. I
well,
was
yeah,
closer than I thought I was gonna be.
yeah.
Definitely, I'm shocked, honestly, that you got into that.
I am too. Trust me. I
Oh,
started it. I was like, oh, let's see. I don't typically watch this stuff. And then I got like 2 episodes in, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch the entirety of this thing in one night.
is it still ongoing?
Yeah, they're still waiting on the next set of rights so they can start animating.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as the manga is going, the anime will always be going unless it gets, canceled or whatever.
Huh. Sounds interesting, sounds dramatic.
It is. It's very dramatic. It's very thriller-esque. It's not like it doesn't rely heavily on the romance side of things, but it is very romantic in and of itself.
Yeah. So far, the one you're most likely probably going to get me to watch would be Attack on Titan. Runner up would be Jujutsu Kaisen. And who makes
It's not
Demon Slayer? Just out of curiosity.
it is also Mappa, the same
Okay.
people who made Jujutsu Kaisen and all.
So that
I
would
do have
those would
to say
probably be the three that I would end up actually watching if I
it
could get
visually,
past.
it is peak.
Okay.
Like, people, like, say, "Oh, anime is just cartoons and things like that." Yeah, there's different styles of animation, but when you go to the point where the animes we're seeing now are almost just pure works of art with the color and design of everything that goes into it. Like, half the time, like, yeah, I do like the anime, but I just like seeing the background animation, everything they're doing, epic, just the fight scenes, the sounds. There's one sound in particular that just like makes every anime fan like just hairs stand up. And it's this one guy, his name's Benimaru. Is it Benimaru? What's his name? It's from Fire Force. He's a really strong guy, and he uses a move that is just the most ear orgasm of a sound. Like, I'll go back and just listen to it.
It's like
Love
it sounds similar to the Wilhelm scream. Do you know what the Wilhelm scream
Yeah,
is? From
yeah,
like every action movie at least uses the will, like Lucas used it a lot in Star Wars. He used it a lot in Indiana Jones. That
yeah, yeah,
ah fuck, like people get thrown off like a fucking Nazi truck and he just has the Wilhelm scream.
yeah, yeah.
I'd imagine it's probably a lot cooler than that, but well,
No, don't worry. I'll send you the link.
okay. I know you will. Put it in the Discord. Well, this
Oh,
has been Game Flicks and Chill. This is just kind of a cool episode we wanted to do and have some fun with it. I have a similar idea, very similar to this. I touched on it in the last podcast. If you haven't watched it or haven't listened or watched that one, check us out on YouTube or Spotify. Game Flicks and Chill. Um, the next podcast I want to do is going to be this same idea, but me explaining the entirety of the zombie storyline to you, because I know you knew like a lot pretty much going up to Black Ops 1 and half of Black Ops 2, and then you just kind of like some of it from Black Ops 3, 4 and 5, Cold War, whatever, but you don't know how deep it goes. So it's a very similar idea, similar style of podcast. We have some other ideas that we want to do too. I'd love to do, like I said, that the Walking Dead episode, man. I think that would be fun. I think
I'm
that would
down. I have a
be,
lot of words for that.
yeah, me too. Me too. I have, and I'll get like even information going down to like the directors and creative producers, the graphic novel. We'll get into that side of it too. I think that would be cool. So for all the listeners and all over on Spotify, for all the listeners on YouTube, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. We appreciate you more than you would ever know. And yeah, keep yours posted for that one. I want everyone to have a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas.
I
And
don't.
stop playing Call of Duty. You're getting mean. But
Um,
yeah, this has been Game Flicks and Chill.